Welcome, welcome, welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I'm your host, Glenn Poole Harding, and tonight we have a very special guest. This basketball head is a St. Raymond's legend and 1991 Mr. Basketball in the state of New York. After dominating in New York City, he became the Texas Longhorn legend and all-time leading scorer with 2,306 points and leading career steals with 255. This basketball head also ranked 6th in assists in Longhorn history. He was named the 1992 Dick Vitale National Freshman of the Year and helped guide the Longhorns to 3 NCAA tournament appearances and conference championships. He also spent a decade playing professionally from 1995 to 2006 in the NBA, CBA, and in Europe. His coaching resume is impeccable with experience, previously coaching at San Diego University, New Mexico, Texas State, Tulsa, and Sam Houston State. He's now the top assistant at Creighton University, this year's Big East champions. Help me welcome to the show St. Raymond's High School and Texas University legend, Terrence Rencher.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Yeah. You have just stepped out into the world of chaos, where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. 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 Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. 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 East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
What's happening, T? How you doing, brother?
Man, what up, man? You got a live intro, man. That had me blushing over here, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, man. Got to do you right, man. New York City's own and Mr. Basketball, so I got to give you the treatment, brother. You earned it. You know what I'm saying? You put in the work and you earned it.
Definitely appreciate you for that, man.
We just here to give you your crown tonight, my brother.
Sound good to me, baby. For
sure. So, welcome to the show, man. I would like to welcome you to the show. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I appreciate it. It's always good to be, connected. And then to be honest with you, man, all us old head ex-players, man, we got egos, man. So when somebody, want to dig into the crates and take it back a little bit and give us some love and some support and recognition for what we did prior, that's beautiful, and I'm very grateful for you, man.
Oh, man, it's awesome, man. Y'all had Ross Strickland up here a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, yeah, man, I was watching a couple of people you had on your show, man. You guys was talking. I got to come say my part. You know what I mean? Like, and it's all good, brother.
No doubt.
So, I'd like to get this right off. Who introduced you to the game?
Man, I mean, I never really, to be honest, I didn't have that, moment, right? But my father, rest his soul, played, up till high school. He had his other issues. Then my older brother played for a couple years at Talentine when I was a young 5, 6, 7-year-old dude, man. So to be honest, I just don't remember my life without being around the park or the game or the gym. So almost kind of like born into it.
Nice. That's always a good thing. Some of us are blessed to have it passed down,
right? And
some of us kind of bumped into it in an accident, like myself. And then some people just was watching the whole time until they got their chance.
Right. But that's the beauty of it, man. And that's just the beauty of life, man. Everybody's path is different. Even when you're trying to approach some of the same goals, we all got a different path to get there. And, that's what shapes our lives. That's what shapes our perspectives. And that's what makes the world, man. Everybody's striving, but different paths, man, different experiences.
Definitely. So at what age did you fall in love with the game? Like,
from right off the top, man. When I was young, man, I grew up in the Big East with the Walter Berry, Chris Mullin, Mark Jackson, Pat Ewing, you know, that Big East. So that it was immediate for me. And then, you know, like I said, my brother was playing high school, so I got a chance to see as a kid, you know, Kenny Smith and Derek Chivas and all these type of dudes, man. So I didn't have a choice, man.
So you made those names, those are special names right there, man.
And then at that point, man, you're talking about the early 80s, you know, the game was, it was New York, man. Basketball was synonymous with New York. So, you know, it was really nothing else that really interested me besides seeing these great players play and, you know, all of hearing about certain dudes and finally get a chance to see them, especially as a young kid. So that really inspired me, man. And so, you know, just how people respected those guys and how tough the competition was and how, you know, the whole process. So I just kind of fell in love with it right away. And I always wanted to be part of it, man. I always wanted to be a good player in the city. I always wanted to be recognized and, you know, gain reputation. So, you know, that was the culture at that time.
Yeah, listen, my guy, DJ Mighty Mark, was up here the other day. You know, my guy Mark Jackson.
Yeah.
And he said, man, I remember seeing T at like 13, G. At 13, and this guy could do almost everything at 13. And I'm still trying to figure it out. And this guy at 13 years old had it. And he said, in his eyes, he was seeing the next Kenny Anderson.
Yeah, well, you know, obviously, man, with much respect to K.A., you know, all of us guys who were younger than him, especially the guys like myself who were left-handed, you know, he was the model, man. You know, we all wanted to be like him, play like, you know, he had the city, man. So we all looked up to him. And, you know, obviously, again, that was another blessing to be able to watch his whole development from his freshman year, you know, all the way through his pro career. But, yeah, man, you know, and again, you know, I was so young and so in love with the game, a little bit on a different level than kids that were 10, 11, 12. Like, I would come home from school, and before I went back outside, I'd throw tape in, Syracuse, St. John's, Georgetown, Pitt, you know, and just watch. And, you know, one thing I really did was listen. I listened to the commentators. I really, really, as a kid, listened to what they said a good player was able to do, you know, especially at my position. Like, I would hear what they said good guards could do. You know, and I always wanted to incorporate those things into my game. And so I always watched the game, especially as a young kid, from a different angle that certain kids my age just didn't understand. So I think that kind of pushed me up my advancement at that point because, to be honest with you, physically I wasn't, you know, I was just a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't big, I wasn't athletic, I wasn't dunking at a young age, none of that.
Right.
I had a different kind of understanding about the game. So when I did play against guys who maybe were more physically developed, and I would still be able to survive and still get the best of it sometimes just because I had a different type of understanding at that age.
And sometimes you can, you know, think your way through certain situations where a guy who's more physical, he probably can't do those things. And this is good lessons for youngsters to know, if you want to be a student of the game, you got to give yourself that extra push, right? You got to give yourself that extra knowledge that you're going to need to get past certain situations when you're playing.
Right. And, you know, for me, man, like, I didn't need anybody to tell me, yo, you need to watch this tape or watch these games. Like, I wanted to do that, right? So, you know, I had good coaching, good people around me, don't get me wrong, but I had an inner drive, right? That's the thing people don't understand. Like, you have to want this thing more than anything else, right? You know, some of us, man, we didn't have normal childhoods. Like, summertime, you know, thankfully now looking back, based off some of the places where we lived and how, you know, how those neighborhoods was, like, I wasn't home a lot in the summer. You know, it was camp, it was traveling with Riverside, it was over here, it was over there. So, you know, you just got to sacrifice. You sacrifice stuff if you really want to be good, man. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have everything. I can't be the typical 9, 10, 11-year-old running around the block eating ice cream cones and still be the best player in New York City. It just don't add up. So, you know, I was good with those sacrifices because basketball to this day, obviously, is something I love, you know, second to, you know, obviously the people in my life. But, you know, the game is important to me, and you got to invest in it. You got to invest in yourself if you want to get something out of it at the end.
Yes. Where are you from in New York City?
I'm from the Bronx. 174th Street, on the other side of the Bronx Road Projects, near the Whole Avenue Boys Club. On that side.
All right. So, T, I'm going to need you to fill me in, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm getting a lot of flack in my DM about me not visiting or doing short commercials in the famous Bronx playgrounds. I'm from Brooklyn, right? So I'm going to need a few parks that you can direct me to so when I have to go up there and shoot the video to show some Bronx some love. Because I went to every borough except the Bronx?
Yeah, like obviously it's a million parks, man. But some of the spots that I spend a lot of time in, McCombs near Yankee Stadium.
McCombs, okay.
Yeah. We used to play up in the Valley. There's a couple parks up in the Valley, way uptown. We started out playing Gaucho round ball in Mitchell houses. So it was real.
Yeah, Ron told me I gotta go there.
Yeah, you gotta go to Mitchell. And then one more. I missed. I can't remember. We used to play a tournament. It was like a 220. I can't remember. It was a live tournament back then too, man. My old age is kicking in.
Don't worry about it, fam. Look, that's more than enough that I had. And I gotta show the Bronx some love, man. It just naturally, what I do. So
that's we carved out our niche in the city. Everybody played their part though, man. Every borough has contributed, to the movement, and we all represent. Like every borough has representation at a high level in terms of the game of basketball, man. So I'm just proud to be a part of the whole thing.
Definitely. So what summer leagues did you play in coming up? And what camps did you go to? If you can kind of break it down in two parts.
Yeah. When I was growing up, when I started playing with the church, we played in Boise yesteryear. It was down.
Boise yesteryear, yes.
We used to play, obviously, citywide at Brandeis. Like I mentioned before, Gaucho round ball in Mitchell first, and then obviously they built the Gaucho gym, and so we were able to, move over there. And then, in terms of camps, man, it was five-star was it. We did probably like 2 sessions of 5-star. The last one before school started in Pennsylvania, Homestead was the big one. So in terms of camps, it was really just strictly 5-star. I messed around and went to Luke Second camp a couple times. But, when it came down to really having to solidify yourself, an intense week of getting better right before school started, it was definitely all about 5-star during them times.
Yeah, I just posted some pictures of the great Kenny Hutchinson, New York legend, up at 5-star. And he's going to be coming on the show soon as well.
No, he's another legend. Like when he was playing, I was young again, and I remember seeing him down. He went to Kentucky. Dudes were just. It was a source of pride for us, man. Dudes you didn't even know, but you knew they was from the city. You knew they played a lot of the same tournaments you played. You saw guys too, man. Being able to see Walter Berry, Mark Jackson, like literally, and don't let them say what's up, little man, or whatever that may be, man. That kind of stuff was important to us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Had major respect for those dudes.
Isn't that crazy? I'm going to tell you a short story real quick with 2 people. They're both Brooklyn guys. And I told you, me kind of stumbling into basketball and playing at Lincoln, just how it happened is crazy. But when you don't think guys know who you are, right? I remember being up at Glen Falls, and we were about to play Kenny and them that night. And Paco and his father, Carlton Screen and his father, Mr. Carlton Screen Sr., they walked by me, and it was like, hey, yo, Glenn, good game tonight.
Blew your mind.
I was like, it tripped me out. And another moment was with Gerald Green when he called me by my nickname, Pooh.
Right.
Like, I told my dog, like, yo, Gerald Green just spoke to me. Those be those moments. And I think with us, being in the mix at that time, we want to say something to the guys, but we have our own little egos, so we keep it to ourselves. We tell our more friends.
Of course.
But it means so much. It meant so much to us at the time, just that recognition. Absolutely. So I tell guys, don't be afraid to speak to people, because you never know how it might change them.
Right. And I mean, especially if you look up to what they do and you like what they stand for. Like, it could be, like, obviously, basketball players are number one for us, but like if I see an entertainer that I enjoy or a rapper or a singer, like I always go, yo man, I appreciate what you do, whatever, because
that's right.
And that first of all, that means something to them as well, man. So
yes,
we like you said, we get caught up in our own ego and our own quote unquote manhood, but you got to recognize when somebody contributes and give them the proper respect for that.
That's right. Yo, my man Cook Slow, the producer, said, how was it playing with Eddie Rivera, who went to UTEP?
You know what? It was crazy. I never played with Ed. He was a senior when I was a freshman, right, at St. Ray's. So Now, me going into St. Ray's as a freshman, coming from, you know, as the young hooper in the Bronx, I'm thinking I'm going to play varsity off top. So I thought I was going to be teammates with Ed. But, you know, Gary DeCesar, our coach over there, he put me actually on the freshman team. He didn't even put me on JV. He put me on the freshman team. So now I never got a chance to play with Ed, but I got a chance to play against him, work out with him, watched him a lot. Very, very underrated guy. Had a really good career at UTEP. Actually, we played in college one time at their tournament in UTEP for the championship of that tournament. They actually beat us my freshman year. They beat us. I think it was his junior or senior year. They actually beat us out there in a really good game. Ed was not a joke, man. And I don't know why. And maybe it's because, you know, he wasn't particularly a Riverside guy or Gauchos guy. And at that time, you had to be one of the two, right?
Yes.
And he wasn't particularly with either program. And I think that kind of hindered his exposure to a degree, because I saw Ed go head up and either bust dudes up or really, you know, compete with guys. I saw him from everybody from Kenny Anderson to on down the list during that era. He never backed down. He always represented. And, you know, he was always a problem to deal with, man. Eddie Rivera, Munyo.
Yeah. Kenny, I think, gave him props as well, man. So you was a Riverside guy.
I was a Riverside guy, yeah. Like I said, you know,
who did you play with Riverside during that time?
With us, it was like, man, we had a bunch of dudes. We had, well, the class before us had, you know, that crew, Asian Archie, Brian Reese.
Coming back. Always. You want to make sure we do. Go, you want to go back, because I think we kind of was buffering from it.
I had that little spinning wheel on my thing, but
yeah.
What was last? Just talking about some of the guys. Yeah, Dean Marshall played at South Alabama. Jason Gilliam went to Stetson. Big Ben Davis played at Arizona. Wilfred Kirkcaldy from Boys and Girls went to Oak Hill. Terrence Bethel, who played at Talontown, went to Alabama. Man, we had a pretty good crew, man. You know, not a lot of. Because to be honest, man, the two classes before us was so crazy in New York. The first was like Kenny.
You still buffering a little bit. You still buffering a little bit.
I'm back.
There you go.
I'm back.
And there you go. All
right, cool. No, I was just saying, like, the classes before us was loaded, man. From Mashburn to Gred and Reese and, you know, old Rob Phelps. You know, so Dave Kane, Chanel Scott. I mean, it was loaded up, man. So, you know, we came behind all that. So to be honest, we didn't have, quote unquote, that same type of star power from top to bottom, but we had a lot of good players. You know, obviously the majority of dudes went D1, but we didn't have a bunch of McDonald's guys like they had.
Right. So who was your main competition back then? And let's remember, people and young people out there, here's a guy who was Mr. Basketball in New York State and didn't mind playing freshman and waiting his time, right? Of course, you want to play varsity, but he didn't quit after the coach said you had to play freshman.
Right. Nah.
Right?
No doubt. And you know, it was crazy because I remember, like, you know, that dude, Gary DeCesar, was tough on me, even as a freshman. I wasn't even on his team. I didn't understand it. Obviously, you know, looking back on it, he saw some things in me, right? But I remember going to my parents, like, my freshman year, like, I don't know about this deal. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, nah, you forced us to go there. You want to go there. You got to figure that thing out. So I appreciated my parents just for making me deal with it, right?
So you were second guessing it. You were second guessing.
As a 14-year-old with this dude cursing me out every day for no reason, I was definitely second guessing it. But, you know, my parents didn't allow me to run away from it. You know what I'm saying? They said, you got to deal with it. And, you know, it motivated me to get him off my back. That's what made me work. Like, I'm going to get this dude off my back. And, you know, that was one of my motivating factors. So, you know, that was one of the big, you know, when you look back on your life, you got a lot of little forks in the road. And that was one of the forks in the road that I'm glad I stayed straight and stuck it out because, you know, those times prepared me for a lot of stuff that came my way once I left St. Ray's.
Yeah, I just saw my artist. He said he's on his way. He got here, bought tomorrow's interview's picture, and forgot yours. So he went to the whip to run back, go get it, because we make sure we want to bless you, man.
All good, all
Definitely.
good.
So, when was that turning point when you knew you was going to start to be on varsity?
What was after that year? After the freshman year, he told me, you know, he had a plan, man. He put, after our freshman year, we were all sophomores on varsity. So he had a plan. He put all of us on varsity. Now we all feeling ourselves. We thought we finally did what we had to do. And we got walloped that year. I mean, I'm talking about we were getting beat down so bad that year in the CHSAA. So it humbled. Like, his plan was crazy because he had a class full of dudes who thought they were good, who thought they were ready. And then he threw us in the fire, and we weren't ready, right? So now we got to look in the mirror and say, okay, this is on us. We got to work. We got to dig down. We want to win one of these championships before our time is up, put St. Ray's on the map. And it was crazy. It all worked out that way. It all worked out that way, man. That brought us together. That made us want to work harder. They put a chip on our shoulder from getting beat so bad that year, sophomores. And, you know, we steadily got better. Junior year, we made the playoffs and pushed some guys, won some big games. Then, obviously, senior year, you know, we won the first chip for St. Ray's.
Wow. What year was that?
91.
That magical year.
Yeah.
So, who did y'all play in the city championship?
We played Lachlan. Lachlan had big Andre Riddick, who went to Kentucky.
Oh, yes.
And then in the backcourt, they had Sherwin and Selden. Sherwin Anderson, Selden Jefferson. Selden played at West Virginia. Sherwin played at Xavier. So, I mean, they was loaded. They were a little bit younger than us. I think their backcourt was sophomores, and me and Book were seniors. So we had a little bit on the experience side on them. But it was a hell of a game. I mean, we won it down the stretch, and it was a classic, man. But, yeah, Lachlan, everybody knew that year was going to come down to us. It happened to come down to it, and, man, luckily we got some breaks. We made some plays. And, you know, I tell people to this day, man, like, I've been through a lot in the game. I've had a lot of successes. I've been drafted. I've got NBA minutes. I played in Europe. And, you know, I have no complaints about my career as a player. But if I want to be honest with myself, the best feeling, the most pure basketball feeling I've ever had was winning that championship at St. Ray's, because the way we went about it and how pure that shit was at the time. You know what I mean?
Yo, let's make for noise for that. I definitely know how that feels, man. I definitely know how that feels.
Yeah, y'all got y'all shit.
That city championship is special.
No doubt. And I won college champion. You know, won some conference championships. I won the championship in Europe. You know, like I said, I've been blessed to have a lot, you know, in this game. But in terms of just like pure, we've grinded for this. Nobody can take this away from us. We're the first team in the school to ever do this. And do it in New York at that was like, man, that was the best feeling. I can remember that night almost like it was last week. You know what I'm saying? That was 30 years ago. So it was real.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's the question. 1991.
Mm-hmm.
People hearing that you might be player of the year, Mr. Basketball.
Yeah.
A lot of people start gunning for you. Who ass did you bust to let them know you were the top dog in the city?
I'll be honest, just being honest, and because I love him to this day, and maybe I shouldn't even take pride in doing it, because he was a freshman when I was a senior. So, you know, you normally don't get props for that, right? You're a senior, this kid's a freshman.
Yes, but the freshman wins.
But the guy who was the freshman at the time was a high-profile dude, so it was Felipe Lopez, right? Now, Felipe,
that's just a little different. That's just a little different. That's
Felipe's an icon. Felipe is a Dominican dream, 30 for 30, nothing but love for my brother. But I had it out for him when I put the target on him. You know what I'm saying? Because he was getting so much hype as the next guy. But I was saying, hold on, my thing ain't finished yet. Like, he could be next, but I gotta keep
talk that talk. Talk that talk, T. Listen.
But I'm just being honest.
It's all love. It's all love, Felipe. Yeah, it's all love.
My brother. It's my brother. But that's kind of how I looked at it at the time. Because like I said, like, he was a prodigy. He was the next guy, big thing in New York City, but I just didn't want it to happen on our time. You know what I'm saying? And obviously he ended up getting his. He got his and won his chips and missed some basketballs and all that. But I couldn't let him have mine at the time.
Not in your watch.
Not at that time.
Look, I love it, T. I love it. A lot of guys run away from that question, man. It's just that when you're the guy, you know, and everybody looking good for you. But you were looking down like Jay and Drake do, like, oh, I see you coming up.
Right. And that was
not on my watch, Shorty.
It's really all the respect, though.
Oh, facts.
You know what I'm saying? But on top of that too, though, and I've singled Felipe out, but also on that team who was always really, and I'm giving him respect to my brother. He was always hard for me to play against. Was Jerry McCullum. Jerry was nice. Jerry was strong. Jerry was fast. Jerry got fast hands. Jerry was athletic. You know what I mean? So those between Felipe and Jerry, and then you have Reggie Freeman, my other brother, like. There was some real, we had some real times with Rice, man. So I would say just that team in general, but Felipe and then Jerry, man, those were two guys I always knew, like, all right, I got to strap up tonight and really be focused to get this done.
Who did you pattern your game after?
You know what? I'm about to blow your mind for the first thing I tell you, the first one I tell you. Well, not the first one. Well, when I was little, like Isaiah Thomas was first. That was the first guy I tried to get the handle like and all that. As I started getting older, I knew I wasn't Isaiah type. So then it's like, I think I was probably one of the first young brothers to idolize and try to mimic a white guy. I wanted to be like Chris Mullin. Say word. I'm left-handed.
That's not a bad guy to want to mimic either.
Yeah, but it was different, right? I'm a black kid, and I'm like, I got this dude posted on my walls and all that. And then after that, Kenny came along. So it was like, man, then I got to try to steal some of that. So probably the three guys was Isaiah, Chris Mullin, then Kenny Anderson. I don't think I got anything close to on any of them because they were out of this world. But they were definitely people I studied and people I tried to take parts of their game and incorporate into mine.
Cool. After that magical year, 1991, schools is knocking at your door.
Yeah.
What other schools besides Texas were recruiting you?
Well, it's crazy because, like I said, like the two classes before me in New York were so loaded that them dudes, like when I grew up as a kid, I wanted to go to St. John's, Syracuse, Maryland, or Virginia. I had 4 schools I always wanted to go to.
Because I'm like, Texas, we don't usually send kids to the Big 12.
But here's how it got crazy. Because those classes were so loaded, like Syracuse was good. They didn't need me. They didn't really recruit me. St. John's was different. Like I would have went to St. John's in a heartbeat as a kid, but they didn't recruit me. Like they weren't sure about me until like my senior year, like going into my senior year. And by that time, I was kind of bitter with them, and I didn't want to deal with it, right? So, and then Virginia, Maryland was kind of flirting with me, but they were dealing with more so those DC kids, and then Virginia wasn't really recruiting me. So my 4 favorite schools weren't really recruiting me. So at that point, I said to myself, like, listen, man, like. I love, Seton Hall, I respected Providence, all of those UMass with Calipari, like, respected all of it at the time. But at the same time, I was like, man, do I want to keep playing against, kind of recycling the same opponents, same guys I've been playing against? So when Texas got involved, I said, man, this is intriguing. Let me see what this is. Let me see what it is. It's different. It's a different part of the country. It's a different league. And I didn't know much about it at the time, besides that, it was Longhorns and the colors were dope. But when I went on my visit and Coach Benders laid the plan out for me and all that kind of stuff, then I said, you know what? I didn't even second guess. I said, this is where I'm going. I'm coming to school here. I went back home that Monday and told Gary DeCease at my high school, like, yo, I'm done. It was my first visit because I flipped it and put them as my first visit. I was supposed to go like to Florida State, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, and Seton Hall, or something like that. I can't remember exactly. So I went on to visit to Texas first, and I just got a gut feeling. It wasn't about how much I'm going to play as a freshman, how many shots I'm going to get. Give me this. I watched their practice. I saw the personnel. I saw the style of play. The coach was an East Coast guy. I'm in it's just different there, right? It's just different place. And it intrigued me, man. And, I went with my gut, and it worked out for me, man. I'm so proud of that decision I made to branch out. Now, my parents weren't thrilled about me going that far away, but they understood it. They respected it. They supported it. And obviously, it turned out to be a pretty good decision for me.
One of the key things you said, right? We know that universities provide great academic foundations for freshmen coming in all over the country. But one of the key things you did, you got a chance to watch them practice and saw how you fit in.
Right.
Not only that, you checked out who the head coach was, and like, he's not just from down here. He's an East Coast guy because he's going to get me.
Right.
So there's two things, two key things that I think younger guys need to pay attention to when they talk about selecting a school. Because a lot of times the school is recruiting us and we don't put ourselves in that much power to recruit the school and say, this is where I want to go.
Exactly. And two parts of that. The other part that I respected about Coach Penders was at the end of my visit, when he dropped me off at the airport, he said to me, he said, listen, I'm not about to sit here and tell you you're going to start, you're going to play this, but you see what I have at your position. And I think if you come in here and do what you're supposed to do, you won't have any issues. And that was good as a promise. That was good as a promise for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't got to promise me nothing, but from what I saw, that tells me that we're looking at the same things and we got the same vision for me. So that lined up. You know what I mean? And, you know, then beyond that, man, I was talking to my brother about this the other day. Like, I was lucky, man. I didn't have the people around me with the bull, with the BS in my ear. You know what I'm saying? My circle was legit. Everybody was pulling in the same direction for what was best for me. So I didn't have to deal with a lot of stuff that these kids deal with now, with this dude telling you this, the trainer's telling you this, your uncle's telling you this. You know what I'm saying? So I was lucky in that regard. But I'll tell you this, because you made a good point. And I tell kids this that I recruit to this day, like, listen, this is a big decision. This is the biggest decision you've made so far, and one of the biggest you'll ever make. Ask us anything you want to ask us. Like, you know, like, it's not a one-way street. We're not just recruiting you and asking you and learning about you. You need to ask us some real questions too. You know what I mean? Because it's that important for you. And, you know, we feel like we don't have anything to hide and be transparent with you. And, you know, if it all lines up, then, you know, we'll make it happen. But, yeah, definitely, you definitely got to take control of your recruiting situation. It's that important.
And look, you landed in the hands of a good coach. And my former teammates coach, Tom Penders, my guy, Carlton Silk Owens, you know, both of you guys lefties, shooters, kind of similar build. So I think he, in his back of his mind, he was saying, God damn, another Carlton. If I can get this word to say right. And both of you guys end up being leading scorers at your prospective schools under the same coach.
You know what's crazy about that too? I saw them play when they beat Syracuse in the NCAA tournament when they were at Rhode Island. And I remember that game. I was like, that's when I really, because I knew who Silk was. I didn't know Silk, just knew his rep in the city and all that kind of stuff. But I got a chance to see him play for Coach Penders at Rhode Island. And then they did what they did that year in the NCAA tournament. You know what I'm saying? That opened my eyes to a lot. And then ever since, man, I mean, me and Silk have had a great relationship. You know, we've never even crossed paths. We never played together. We've never been on. He never coached me. But first of all, we got that common bond of Coach Penders. Second of all, we're both New Yorkers. And third of all, we both stand-up dudes. So we you know, when you put all that together, man, it makes for a good relationship. And that's a solid brother right there.
Yes, he said the same. He said the same. Yes. So that freshman year, man, let's talk about that magical run, man. Yeah. And how did it feel you coming in? No real big expectations put on you, and you can win freshman of the year, the whole NCAA.
I'm gonna rewind and correct you slightly. So when I went down there, right, I was the Mr. Basketball in New York, and see that at that point it wasn't as like now, like the shine I wanted, the luster is kind of off of New York now because the game is spread out, it's popular everywhere. But going to Texas at that time as Mr. Basketball, now the people there, like, we had the Midnight Madison. It was like 8,000-9,000 people there to see the new New York dude, right? So it was a little bit of pressure.
Oh,
it was a little bit there.
The football fans came out.
Yeah, they came out because, matter of fact, I think the football wasn't that good that year, so they had lost a few already. So the fans were already looking for, you know, for the basketball season to start.
There you go.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, right? So when we first started practicing, the first 2 weeks or so, I didn't know if I was strong, fast, athletic. The game is fast. We played a really fast style, and it was hard for me to keep up. Like, it took everything for me to just keep up in practice like the first couple weeks. And I really wasn't being aggressive. I was just trying to survive. And then Coach Penders pulled me. It's like, listen, man, like, I didn't bring you here to just be a role player and, you know, just be a guy, just be another one to do it. I need you to be what I think you can be. Like, before I even proved anything to him, he's hitting me with that. So now I'm starting to catch on. I started to catch on. And, you know, I started getting busy in practice. My practices started getting better and better. And then our very first game of the season was against Washington in the preseason NIT. I think I had 15 points. And, you know, everybody's like, oh, man, for your first game, 15, wow, wow, wow. Coach Pender said, come on, that should have been 25.
Woo!
So at that point, I'm like, okay, I see what he want me to do. And from that point on, it was off to the races at that point.
Put it up, young man, put it up.
Put it up. Put it up. And to be honest, it changed my game because in high school, we were system. Like me, Orlando, Book, you know, we was like 17, 16, 15 a game. There was nobody getting 25, 24. But now I got this man telling me, like, nah, I need you to get 20, 25. Like, we on the way out to the floor before the game, he pulling me like, yo, this dude who I think is going to guard you got to be 25 tonight. So I'm like, wow. If your head coach is telling you that 10 minutes before tip, it's like, you got to go give it up. You got to try. So he just forced me to be aggressive. He forced me to really impose myself offensively. And, you know, it was a good call by him.
There's nothing better for a player to have this coach come up to him and say, son, get yours tonight.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I'll tell you this story. Quick story. The first game I started in college, I had 25 points. I missed one basket. My assistant coach came to me and said, son, you'll never do that again. Please. I said, I missed one shot. He said, yeah, but we ain't going to bring it your way no more. The same dude that recruited me.
Wow. That's crazy.
Coming to figure out, he was leaving anyway, so he was just trying to do a lot of damage before he left.
Right. Yeah, that's dirty. That's dirty right there. And, you know, obviously that's part of all of our experience. Like, you know, some of us are talented more so than others, but a lot of us were just in situations with better people, man. You know what I'm saying? That cared more about us than that clown that you were dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So,
oh, for sure. For sure.
You know, any little thing, especially during that time, could propel you or hold you back. And, you know, that's some of the stuff we don't have control over, man. And you just, you know, you count your blessings when they come. And, you know, that's part of the reason why, you know, as I'm coaching now, man, I'm always trying to be as upfront, honest, and, you know, about these kids as possible, man, because I know what it's like. And I've seen examples, you know, like stuff you just said, when, you know, when the coaches ain't really for the dudes, man. That's one of the worst things, man. The being in a role that we're in, going to people's houses and telling them what we're going to do for their kids and how we're going to take care of them and continue the process of, you know, making them men. And then you come and do clown stuff and shady stuff to young kids, man. There's nothing cool about that. There's nothing cool about that.
I just think your reputation and what you went through and all the places that you coached at just proves, you know, how solid you are. So I know when you walk into a parent's household that they can feel safe with having a child go with you and you help develop them into men, you know, because of what you stand for and your reputation. Because all the people that I spoke to, everyone that I spoke to about you had nothing but high honors.
I appreciate that. And, you know, that's important, man. That's important, man, especially in the world we live in, man. A lot of people don't care. A lot of people just want their bread. They want their situation, you know, but, you know, to me, you know, it matters as a man to be respected by other men. Like, you don't have to be liked, but, you know, to be respected is what it's about. And then on top of that, man, like, when it comes to these recruiting these kids and coaching these kids, like, it goes beyond basketball, right? Our responsibility as men, black men in particular, is to help raise this next generation of men. You know what I mean? So we use basketball to help us do that. But it's not all about, man, how can this kid help us win some games and how can he help us? No, we got to get him ready to be a father. We got to get him ready to be, you know, impactful in the community. We got to get him ready to be a man out here. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if he can make a three or if he can go left, you know, all of that's important. But the big picture is, you know, how we contributing to these young men in terms of putting them out, helping them get out into this world and make a positive impact.
That's couldn't say it better myself, man. This is why you're in the position that you're in, brother.
Appreciate it.
After becoming the school's leading scorer and leading the steals and 6 assists, do you think you were mentally and physically ready for the NBA?
I was ready. I don't think, to be honest, I don't know if anybody walking into that thing could be fully ready in terms of the total scope of it, right? I thought I was ready to a degree as a player. Now, you know, I had to learn and get better within the NBA, obviously, but I was ready as far as college guys go in terms of giving the next level shot. Physically, I had built my body up. I was ready there. I can't say I was mentally ready because I only played 1 year in the league. And if I was mentally right, then I could have played 10. Because my mistake was I never didn't play, right? So now I'm in the NBA, and it's like 2-3 games go by, and I ain't played a minute. I remember a game that Pat Riley put me in for the last defensive possession in the first half. I played the last 24 seconds of defense and never played another possession. Like, that was hard for me to deal with. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around how can I continue to be a good teammate? How can I continue to have a better attitude? I was too immature for that. So the maturity wasn't there, right? So I wore my emotions on the sleeve. If I didn't play for a couple of days, I wasn't, like, engaging. I wasn't a happy guy. I wasn't really talking to anybody. Like, I was in my own little world because my ego didn't understand that circumstance because I was never in that situation. So I held myself back from having a longer NBA career because, I just didn't respect the process at the time. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was so used to being one of the main guys and playing all the minutes that, it come to a point where it's like, man, I didn't play 3 games in a row, and they don't owe you no explanation. It's not like the coach come to you like, man, listen, this is why. It was none of that. It was like, shit, DNP.
Straight business.
DNP. That was it. Nobody owe you nothing. Nobody owes you anything. And I had a hard time wrapping my mind around that and staying professional. Now, I wasn't disrespectful. I wasn't any of that. I wasn't a bad apple or anything. But for the role I had, for the talent level I had for the NBA, I should have been a better teammate. I should have had a better personality in the facility. But I was so wrapped up in my journey and what I needed to do and what I wanted out of it that I couldn't see beyond that. And that cost me in terms of the NBA. But on the flip side, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to have a 10-year. Because who knows what would have happened. Like, if I would have signed a big deal and all of that kind of stuff, I probably wasn't ready to deal with that at that moment. So it didn't come my way, and I'm fine with that. I had a great run in the game. I did my deal in Europe. And even having 1 year of NBA under my belt, that's 1 year more than 99% of basketball players.
Yo, bro, you got to sit and put on NBA socks, sit in the locker room, have a locker room. I never even smelt the inside of the NBA locker room, fam. So salute to you.
I scored a couple too. I ain't just put the socks on. I did get a couple baskets.
Oh, look, brother, whatever you did, right? But I'm gonna tell you one thing: the fact that you owned up, that you turned into David Nathan Phillips, right? I'm gonna tell you who David Nathan Phillips is. That's that guy. On the stat sheet says DNP.
Yeah, David Nathan Phillips.
Right? You could become that guy, right? Because David Nathan Phillips is a bitter guy, right? He's a bitter guy. He's always talking about, damn, I was nice before. Why they ain't seeing me in this light? Not knowing the NBA is a total different monster.
They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. This dude, Pat Riley, told me, like, yo, because we didn't have a summer league. We had a lockout the year I got drafted. So he was like, yo, listen, during the season, like, next summer, we're going to put the ball in your hands. The team will be yours. The summer league will be yours. You'll develop. It'll be great. Traded me like 3 days later. You know what I mean? Like, that's how nasty it is. You know what I mean? And, like, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know it was that nasty. And I couldn't it was hard for me to deal with that at that point. So it was just crazy because then he traded me to Phoenix. And, it was a situation where they were already set. They had, it was last year with Barkley and them. So they had, like, Kevin Johnson, Elliott Perry. They were already good. Like, it was nowhere for me to play. Like, you sent me out there to go just rot. So I was and then they put me on the injured list, and I was healthy. So now I'm really, like, bitter. And I'm really, like, I'm not messing with none of y'all. I'm going to work out on my own. I'm going to lift weights on my own. Like, I'm really acting like I'm some type of franchise dude, not knowing, like, you know what? They don't need me.
That's David Nathan Phillips right there. I'm telling you.
That's exactly what it was.
You turn into that person.
Right. I'm not at Texas no more. I'm not at St. Ray's no more. They don't need me here. You know what I'm saying? I got to prove my worth. And, I just wasn't mature enough to see that. I just felt like I was being done dirty. And, that was a lesson for me.
Definitely. When did you start to feel that you started to come into your own as a professional ball player?
My second year. I went, because after my first year, I signed with the Cavs. And I went to camp with the Cavs. And just in the preseason, now that's a whole nother story. That was the last one cut there. Just the way I was able to maneuver in the preseason and how I felt on the floor against other NBA players in that second year, that's when I felt like, okay, now I'm not there yet, but I'm starting to figure out what a pro is. I'm starting to figure out how to play and think like a pro on the floor, see the game from a pro perspective. So my second year as a professional is when I could start seeing, okay, I'm turning into a professional now, not just in that transition between college and pro. I'm starting to feel like a pro. So my second year out of school was when it started coming together.
Dope. And you got a chance to travel all over the world, right?
Yep.
I had Kim Hampton up here the other day, and she spoke like 3 different languages.
Wow, I couldn't pull that off. My wife.
I was about to ask you, how many languages did you pick up, man?
None. You know what? Here's the thing, though. I was able to, you get the 1 through 10, you get the basic numbers down, and a couple phrases, because when it comes to basketball, it's like a universal language. Like most of the coaches get into their English mode, they know enough English, or like I said, I knew the numbers and I knew certain terminology that went with the game. But in terms of like living and going to the grocery store and all that, my wife was able to. She learned Italian, German. My wife, she held us down with that. So she took that burden.
Isn't that something about women, right? If they're gonna be in somewhere, they're gonna try to figure out the language, because Kim was like, I was interacting with the people. I'm going to these restaurants, and I just need to speak the language. Thank God for your wife, man. So salute your wife.
Yeah, because I would have been stuck. So, you know what I mean? But yeah, like that European thing, man, I never, I don't think any of us grow up saying I want to go play in Europe, you know what I'm saying? But when I look back on it, the experiences, some of the places, some of the countries, some of the things, like, there's no way I would have ever been able to experience that without the game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful for that. I would have loved to have been a 10-year NBA player, but I'm so grateful for the opportunity to spend those years in Europe and, immerse myself in those cultures and learn, outside of the box and stuff that I never knew. It was a cool experience. My oldest daughter was born in Germany. You know what I mean? So it was some good stuff came with that process. So it was great, man. And, got a chance to play for money, man. Who could be mad at that?
Can't be mad at that at all, my brother.
At all.
What was your best time and best country?
Oh, man, I think I had a few, man. Like when I played, my first time in Italy was great. It was obviously a high level of basketball. The town, the team, they took me, like it was like just being loved by a small town for helping their team. When you just came from America, you don't know nothing about it, but they embrace you, like, and it's legit. And I still get DMs and Facebook messages from people over there all the time. Like that's real. When I was in Split in Croatia, where Tony Kukoc is from, I played over there. Like we almost went to the EuroLeague Final Four that year. We came 1 game short. So that was a big deal. People still reach out from that town. Germany, I had 3 hellified years in Germany, man. And I don't know, it was great. Israel was great. Like I've had great experiences in all of those different places, man. So I can't say one was better than the other. I'm just grateful for it all.
Man, they got a chance to see greatness, man, and I'm glad it was one of our own from New York City. And I know a lot of other dudes went to those countries as well, but there's only one Terrence Rencher.
No, I appreciate you, man. And like I said, I'm old now, man. And when you're young and you got an ego and you just going through I had goals for myself, and I always wanted to be Mr. Basketball when I was since a little boy. I never said that to anybody, but I wanted to be. So as I'm doing that, as I'm being Mr. Basketball, as I'm being Dick Vitale's freshman of the year, as I'm getting to the draft, being drafted in the NBA, like I'm just checking the box and doing what I always envisioned myself doing, right? But now as an older dude, it means so much more, man, because you know how difficult that stuff is to accomplish. And now, man, like I'm looking for my old jerseys. I want, my old yearbook, like all of that stuff matters now, man. It meant nothing to me when I was in the middle of it, but now
isn't it crazy?
Yeah, now I can reflect and just, appreciate it, man. I'm trying to collect. I got a couple more jerseys I'm trying to collect, man. But yeah, man, it's crazy how your perspective changes as you get older.
Yeah, this is been a great ride so far. Hearing people's stories and sharing stories. I know my old high school manager is a female, and she sent me a picture of our championship jacket.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you something. I gave a chick my high school jacket on some BS back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know who she is anymore. I don't even know her name. You know what I'm saying? And I gave her my jacket.
I know.
Crazy.
I've done some of that same stuff, man. Like, man, I wish I wouldn't have gave this dude these shoes or
No.
this jersey or whatever the case may be. But, you know, like I said at the time, like, that's a byproduct for us when you're in the middle of it, right? You're just doing it because that's what you want to do. You love what you're doing. You know, you check in the box as you accomplish stuff. But I think at the same time that tells you that you were kind of about the right stuff, right?
Yes.
I wasn't looking for my newspaper articles when I was 19 or 20. I didn't care about the magazine covers or, you know, the news specials on tape. Like, I didn't care about that because I was doing what I wanted to do, and that came with it. But like I said, now, man, I want all that stuff, man. Just because, you know, you put so much into it. You know, I want my kids to have some stuff, and, you know, it's just part of the journey.
Brother, let me tell you something. I went the other day, well, during the pandemic, not the other day, in the beginning, right? You know, I'm looking at all these, you know, letters from college, right? All these things that we kind of throw away. Like, I'm kind of saving them now. If I find something, articles, I've just been putting up, because, you know, you're never going to get those things back. And kids can't find themselves in the paper today.
Right. And, you know, you just killed me. You just killed me showing me them letters because that's the one thing that I can't. I had, like, you know, the milk crate joints. I had like 3 of them joints in my mom's, like, during the recruiting process. So look, when I signed, I got rid of all of that stuff. I'm going to Texas. I don't need none of this no more. Oh,
isn't that crazy? Because I did a lot. Trust me, I got rid of a lot too.
I want my letters back, man. That's
oh, man. Especially, yo, T, especially these ones, right? Especially the handwritten ones, right?
No doubt.
Those that you get the handwritten ones, you like, oh, that means something.
Killed me, man. I had crates of those, man, from all over the place. Even you know, back in the day, sometimes you just get form letters. Like, they sent out to 300-400 people. They might never call you, but yeah, I got a letter from Indiana and Georgetown and UCLA. They didn't really recruit me, but I got the mail. And now, right. I wish I had that stuff. I do.
Listen, let's make some noise for all the cats who received college letters back in the days. And you do them just away.
Hey, but check it though, like it was so real. I don't know how y'all got y'all's, but Gary just said, our high school coach, he didn't give out our home address, so all of our mail would come to the school.
Yes, so our coach got them. I got all my shit at the end.
From Hartstown, yeah. And Gary was
Coach Bobby Hartstein, he held them shits to like your junior and senior year.
I thought we was the only ones going through that. So
no.
When we were sophomores, he didn't give it to us to the end. We used to sneak in the drawers, look through it. He would give us at the end. Then junior year, he gave it to us like twice, and then senior year, he started giving it to him like daily. But it was like, man, give me my letters, man. You know how I used to be on the bus with my letters just on my lap, like somebody look at ain't nobody gonna ask me what all this is. You want to know what all this is? Just, you know, but
yeah,
that was a big deal. That was a big deal for us at that time, man. That was a big deal. That was just part of the process, man. But oh man, I'm glad we weren't the only ones that was getting our mail held hostage.
Nah. I still talk to my coach to this day, and he said, "Listen, I ain't want you guys to get a big head."
Right.
You know,
right.
So
that's what it's all about.
It worked.
They knew us.
Yeah. So I speak to a lot of players about the transitional part, right, of their basketball life to the real world. And when I speak to guys, you know, a lot of guys find it difficult transitioning from basketball to the real world, right? And actually what you do is I played basketball my whole life. Nobody really want to hear that.
Right.
How was it difficult, or how was the transition in your life? Was it difficult or was it smooth?
I got to be honest. It was pretty smooth. You know, as I look around and see what some other guys are going through. But it was crazy because I'm gonna be honest, man. I think I got done playing at 33 or 34, something like that. And it wasn't until about 30 when I started having them conversations with myself, like, yo, what's next, man? Like, you got to really start, you know, because as a player, especially in your 20s, you're young, I'm not thinking about the end. Like, I don't want to think about this thing being over. Like, I'm not giving
psyching yourself out.
Yeah, I'm not giving that energy to that. So as I'm getting to my 30s, my early 30s, and I start saying, man, what do I want to do? Because I haven't done anything else. I'm being honest, I haven't done anything else. I don't really have a passion for anything else besides the game. So it's like, do I want to coach? I didn't know if I wanted to coach because I've been around too many teams and too many crazy dudes. I'm like, do I want to deal with some of the dudes that I played with. I wouldn't really deal with that. So what ended up happening for me was luckily, not luckily, but I didn't finish my degree before I finished my eligibility. So I had to get back after I finished playing. I moved back down to Austin and finished my degree up.
Smart.
And that was the year when KD was there, Kevin Durant was there. So, I spent a lot of time with the team, man. I would travel with them. I was like the academic mentor. I would make sure the study hall was done. I was that guy. So I was at practice. I was around all the time. And just kind of took me back because I had been removed from the college game for, once I went to Europe, I wasn't even really checking for it. So when I got back and I watched it and I was part of it and going to film and going to games and traveling, I was like, man, it drew me back to the camaraderie and what my coaches meant to me. And then I'm thinking like, okay, with my experiences, what I've been through, what I know a lot of these kids are chasing, like, I think I can help at this level. Like, I was really just trying to find where I can help kids. And I thought the college level for what my experiences would probably be my strength in terms of helping the next generation of guys. So it kind of was revealed to me quick what I wanted to do. And then on top of that, I was able to meet and develop relationships with the right people who was able to plug me and put me in certain situations to get coaching jobs and get started in the coaching business. So it was pretty smooth, man. I was lucky in a lot of ways to be around the Texas program the year Kevin played, to get to know that coaching staff. And it was actually a member of that coaching staff who helped me get my first coaching job, man. So I think I did it. I think I went about it the right way, man. And, like I said, like you said, not to toot my own horn, but, my reputation and the way I deal with people and
that's key.
Dealt with people.
That's key.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's gotten me over the hump to get in the business and, be able to maintain up to this point.
You could be a good basketball player, but not too many people are going to hire you. Trust me, you're an asshole. You don't have a good work ethic. You're not dedicated. You're not disciplined. No one is going to hire you. They'll put you on a team so you can run and dribble, but they're not going to hire you. It's a big difference. You
can't score for them no more. Then that's all you can bring to the table, and they done with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that just goes back to God bless their souls, man. My parents, like humble, hardworking people who, whenever I thought I was somebody to let me know like how fast I could be nobody again, and don't take anything for granted and treat people right. Just go about things the right way, man. And those lessons I always carry with me, and been a blessing for me so far, man.
Somebody said the sound is gone. Hold on for a sec. What's that, Mr. Crossland? The sound is gone. Is it your phone? Because I can hear. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
I think we're good. All right.
One of my cousins on here and all that. Good look.
Oh, okay. Salute, cuz. So you saying you being a ball player kind of made the transition easier for you to coach at a high level?
It did to a degree, but I had to learn some lessons throughout the course, like because I've coached at all levels of college, Division I, right? Low, mid, high. So when I first started coaching at lower levels, man, I couldn't understand why kids didn't know certain things, or how can you not know that, or how could you not understand this concept, like because I did, you know what I'm saying? So I had to check myself there and take a step back and say, wait a minute, that's my job now. Like I can't assume that these kids know anything. My job is to help them recognize that stuff. So I had to check myself in terms of, okay, if you want to coach, man, you got to coach. You can't hope that these kids bringing things to the table. That's what coaches are for. So yeah, it was easy, but some challenges were presented, man. But like I said, like the game is the game. Team dynamics are team dynamics, and I've been around it my whole life. So, I'm comfortable in locker rooms. I'm comfortable with administrators. I'm comfortable with parents. I'm comfortable with the players. Like, so I feel like I can assimilate pretty easily, regardless of what the environment is or who those people are, man. And that stuff has kind of carried me up until this point. You know what I'm saying?
Because a lot of let me say this, a lot of great players. This is why you don't really see any superstar players as coaches.
Hard.
Because they start thinking like you start thinking in the beginning, T, right?
Yeah.
Like, why these kids are not getting it, but then you got to kind of bring yourself back down.
Right.
All right. Look, we're going to come back and finish up this last segment because we're about to end right now. All right. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to show you your artwork. We're going 3 more questions. All right, T?
All right, sound good.
My man. We're going to come back. Everybody come back to the room. So, yeah, I was just kind of explaining to people because I had some people in the background thinking I wasn't answering them because they didn't know what my guy in the back does, right?
Ah, okay.
My guy's an artist. They're like, what is he, a producer? What is he doing? Listen, it started in the beginning when I think Jerry Ash Reynolds noticed. He was like, at the end of the show, he was like, I was wondering what this dude was doing. I saw him scribbling on the wall, but I didn't know what he was doing. Then he saw the picture. He was like, whoa.
Yeah, I knew exactly what he was doing. I saw as soon as he stepped in there, I could tell he was out there getting busy. But that's one of them gifts, man, that I always wish I could draw a little bit. Them dudes, man, that's a special talent.
Man, I'm so jealous. And he played ball, too. He played at Andrew Jackson.
Oh, okay. So he's skilled. He's got skills all around.
There you go.
Wow.
We keep it basketball affiliated.
That's good stuff.
For sure. So, okay. Now, coached all over, right? Coached at a lot of places. Let me go back because I said it on the intro. San Diego University, New Mexico, Texas State, Tulsa, Sam Houston. And now you're at Creighton, where you guys are the Big East champs.
Yeah.
How does Creighton and universities fit your style?
Well,
of coaching and your lifestyle?
Well, I mean, for me, it always starts with like when I start potentially thinking about or get offered to go somewhere, get offered a job, join somebody's staff. It always starts with the people, right? It always starts with the head coach, the other people on the staff, the people around the program. Like, that's where it starts for me. Like, if I'm comfortable there, then I can do a good job. You know what I mean? Like, when this opportunity at Creighton came up, I actually knew the other assistants already. I was familiar with them. So I already knew that part wouldn't be a problem. I'm obviously familiar with the brand. It's a big-time basketball school. And then on top of that, being in the Big East, for me, it was a no-brainer. So it kind of fits it kind of fits in a funny way, right? So I'm a New York East Coast dude, but I went away to school, right? So now I'm
Texas.
coaching.
Now you're in Nebraska.
Yeah, now I'm coaching at the East Coast school and on the East Side, but I'm away from it, right? So it's kind of takes on the same, dynamic as it was when I was a player. So that in that regard, and then I just think, for me, the experiences of living, and again, don't get me wrong, like a lot of people don't know this, but Omaha, I live in Omaha, Nebraska. It's crazy. It sounds crazy when you say Nebraska to people. But it's a nice city of about 1 million people. It's pretty good diversity here. People would know that. But every time we get kids to come visit, the kids and the parents always say, man, we had no idea that it was this nice out here. You guys had these facilities and these resources. And, we're the only game in town. We top 5 in attendance in the country, 17,000 a night. So it's everything I've been looking for in terms of coaching opportunity up until this point. Like I said, it's in a great league. It's a really livable place, and it actually sits right in the middle of the country. So wherever you're going, it might take you 2.5 hour flight, and you can get there. So, I'm loving it, man. I work for a great dude, Coach McDermott, great guy, great coach, reigning coach of the year. Like you said, I think we've been in the league 7 years now. Just won our first regular season championship. Got a good chunk of that same team coming back, so we got high expectations again, man. So I can't be happier in terms of my professional progress up until this point.
Cool. So I'm gonna take you back to college real quick because I see my guy James Majors is on here. Seton Hall, great.
Yep,
Bishop Loughlin, great.
Yep.
This is the James Majors question. When you was in Texas, right? And you guys took a road trip. Just say you guys came to Madison Square Garden from Texas for the weekend. How much did you guys get in meal money?
Ooh, that's a good question. All right, let me think. I want to say, how these things go. Like, I want to say per diem when they, because a lot of times, like, they knew what was up. They knew when we went to certain places. you know, they want to let us have our fun, and you know, they got a legal way to give us some bread.
There you go.
So I think I would say back then it was probably like $20 a day or 20 a minute. I'm not 100% sure, but I can tell you this though, and I'm not fronting, but just because we on live and it's real talk and it's entertainment, because I was one of the better dudes, I always got a little bit more, man, when it came to that. So I don't know what the real price was.
Yo, I'm gonna say this right now. It's always tripped me out because I went to Fairleigh Dickinson, not as big as Texas, not as big as Seton Hall. And I went to school from 88 to 92.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting $200 to $300 a weekend.
Oh yeah.
For a road trip.
Yeah. They knew how to take care of y'all. That's being creative, taking care of you.
Right. But also, my coach told me the business of college basketball, especially when you're on our level, and a lot of colleges are paying for you guys to come out and play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And we win, those guys will be upset because they paid us money.
Right.
And they lost.
Oh yeah.
So that's when the upset comes in.
Yeah.
Crazy. University of Texas, shame on you. $5.
To be honest, though, what I do remember is, you know, during Christmas break, you know, we in the middle of the season, so you got to stay on campus. Campus is shut down. The dining facilities are shut down. We was getting like, for that month and a half, we was getting like $2,000, and they were still feeding.
Okay, let's make some noise. Let's make some noise real quick for that. Let's make some noise.
Make some noise for that.
Okay.
It was coming through, and they were still feeding us and just let us have the bread. So they used to bless us during the Christmas break for sure. Definitely.
All right.
But I'm in with that. I'm finishing with this, and I ain't gonna go too far. But that's for another. I really wasn't tripping in college about money.
You didn't have to, T. Trust me. I know. I was at Fairleigh Dickinson. You was at Texas. Trust me.
Yo, my pops used to hit me like, you sure? Like, you ain't asked me for nothing since you've been gone. Like, nah, I'm good. I was out my parents' pockets at 18. I was good.
Wow. All right, T.
Let's put a book in the movie.
That's for sure. For sure. Definitely. So, want to ask another question, right? Let me see. Hold on. Let me just get this right. Who can you say, let's do this. Let's talk about a classic New York City game that you either seen or been a part of that people may have forgot about.
Good call. Good one. Classic New York game. And that's just anything, right? Is it a high school game? Is it just any game? What you mean?
Yeah, any game.
I'm gonna be honest, the crazy, and I don't even really remember the game like this. I just remember little parts of it. But the craziest atmosphere when I was a kid that stands out. I mean, and I've been to all types of big games and all that, but when Dominique came to 139th, when Dominique Wilkins came to 139th Street and played.
Do tell, because I never heard this story.
Oh, you don't remember that? Oh man, it's got to be This got to be 83, 84-ish. Early Dominique. He was with the Hawks like Dominique. And he came out to 139th, and it was crazy. He had the Brooks on. Remember, he had the Brooks kicks.
Yeah.
Oh, nuts out there. It was so crazy. I think we got out there. Me and my brother got me out there at like 4 o'clock. Like, you got to get out there early back then. But it was crazy. Dominique came and played on 139th. That was like the first time I saw an NBA dude in the park. Like, that blew my mind. I think he had a couple dunks, obviously, in the game. I couldn't tell you nothing about the game, but I know I just watched him walk. I watched him. I don't even know who else played. I was just watching Dominique move around the whole time. It was crazy to me.
First of all, that's New York City legendary talk right there. Dominique Wilkins playing in New York City. I never heard that, T. That's like a New York exclusive, right? Basketball head exclusive.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Y'all,
right.
Man, y'all own world sometimes. So y'all,
Yeah, definitely.
Y'all miss some of the stuff that happened uptown because y'all got.
Whoa. Let's pull back, fam. Because I can say this about us Brooklyn guys. we go everywhere and play.
No question.
Not too many people from other boroughs come to Brooklyn to play.
No question. But what I'm saying is, like, yo, Brooklyn is a city, and it's like, y'all got your own thing going on over there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
I get it,
like,
yes.
In the Bronx, like, yeah, we going to Harlem to check for what's going on in terms of that. In Brooklyn, you probably just go from Brownsville to Bed-Stuy, you know what I mean? Like, y'all can move around within Brooklyn and still get everything.
And not even going to Coney Island, because Coney Island is its own world from Brooklyn.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And it's in Brooklyn.
It's its own thing y'all got going on out there. I respect it, though. I respect it. Nah, you know what's crazy?
Definitely.
Like, the first time I really had, like, when I first started playing for the church, the realest game, you know, every time the church and the Gauchos played was big. But we played against, we almost fought. It was crazy. I was like 13 and under. Was it the Brownsville Hornets? Something.
Brownsville Jets.
It was real. Like, that was the realest game I played at 13 years old. It was crazy. And it turned into a little rivalry for a minute. So I always have respect for the Brooklyn dudes, man. Y'all always held it down, no question.
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. So, top 5 players from New York City.
Woo. Top 5. All right. Got to go with the captain, Skyhook. Got to put him in there. Kareem.
Fact.
I got to put Kenny in there because I saw it. I got to put, for the impact, I got to put Steph in there for what he did in high school. That's 3.
Yeah.
That's 3, right? Then I'm going to go with Chris Mullin just because he was one of my personal favorites, what he did at Severian. And, I mean, he was one of the white dude going playing in parks. So, like, you got to respect what Mully did, man.
Yo,
like,
listen.
Crazy. And then one more. My 5th one, this is a killer because I know I'm probably going to pick the wrong person. And, I mean, I can give you a cop-out and say, like, Connie Hawkins. No, I ain't going to do that.
Yo, I was just about to say that. But go ahead. I'm going to tell you my 5. Go ahead.
I'm going to put him in there, but I'm going to try to get an honorable mention. One honorable mention, dude. Pearl.
Pearl, definitely. That's
my 6.
Yeah, I won't even argue with that. Listen, I had to switch Bernard King with Chris Mullin because I had Nate Archibald.
Oh, man. I'm killing it. Actually, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I had Rolando Blackman.
Yeah.
I had Kareem.
Yeah.
Connie Hawkins.
Yeah.
And then I had Bernard King. But Mullin name came up the other night, and I'm saying he probably would fit better with that team because we can open it up now. And Bernard King would get in the way of Connie and Kareem doing their thing.
Yeah. But, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Like, man, come on, man. Bernard King, man, dude giving dudes 50 with broken fingers. Come on, man. Like, but
Crazy.
Again, like, for me, Bernard was a little bit, like, I knew, like, obviously I knew his name, him and Albert and all that, but I didn't get a chance to really see Bernard in my eyes until he got into the league. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, and obviously you know the legend of Connie Hawkins, but, like, these other dudes, like Pearl, Kenny, Steph, Chris Mullin, like, I was able to, like, really, literally see it for myself.
See those guys, yes.
Watch it happen, man. So that makes it a little bit biased for me, but I can't be mad at it. I mean, Tiny, I don't know how I didn't put Tiny on it. I mean, come on, man.
That's BX, man. That's BX. All day. God. Listen,
we put out
that's
some
crazy.
Man. We put out some greatness.
That's crazy. We can sit back and figure out who the hell is going to be on our 5 because there's so many players.
Yeah, it's almost impossible, right? Like, you can have your prep, but I can have a 5, and you can come with almost a totally different 5, and I can't even be mad at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how real it is.
Yo, T, in 20, 30 years, kids going to be having your name in there. Like, my top, Terrence Rencher.
Yeah, it's a couple kids that went the same race that was younger than me that, for whatever reason, I'm the guy to them. You know what I mean? Because they experienced that. Now,
listen,
you know, it might have been a better dude than me, but they didn't see that dude. They saw me. You know what I mean? So that impacted them. So I understand that. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to mention this one guy, Malachi Smith.
Yeah, Molly.
Right?
Yeah.
Molly. Let me tell you, I've been watching Molly since he was a freshman. Awesome. Khalil Brantley, another one from New York City.
ISO fan, yeah.
Jaquan, Carlos.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I've never seen a kid finish so good under the basket I haven't seen this since Ross Strickland and Kenny Anderson, and then Kyrie. Cause this kid got so many damn moves.
Which one you talking about?
Jaquan Carlos.
Oh, Jaquan Carlos. Yeah. Jaquan from Boys. Yeah.
And if he ever got your jump shot.
No, he's good.
But that's another story.
Those are three really good players, man. And you know what I like about it? I know all of them to certain levels, certain degrees, and the people around them, they all good kids. Like,
yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you talk to them. Like, I've talked to all of them at some point in the recruiting process, and all of them have the right perspective. They got the right disposition. They can talk. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, man, you know, recruiting is crazy because you call these kids and they don't have anything to say. It's like, yo,
yeah, right.
I'm 40-something trying to talk to a 17-year-old, like, and I'm trying to carry it, like, it's hard. So when you come across these kids that are well-rounded and can hold the conversation, have questions of their own, that's when I know that they're around the right people. And, you know, I'm pulling for Molly, man. You know, I think he made a great decision with his college choice. I know he's a worker. I was just talking to somebody today about how he's been working, you know, throughout this whole pandemic, man. So, and obviously that's home team, man. That's home team, St. Ray's. So, you know, I hope he goes to Dayton and tears it out the frame.
I think that school will fit him. I was talking about this early on. I said those three guys need to go to schools like that to make it their own. Yeah. Right? Because a lot of times we chase the name, right? Instead of going and making it your own thing. And I think he made an excellent decision. So I'm just waiting to see what Khalil and Jaquan is going to do now. I'm just doing my three guys.
Yeah. Jaquan is good, and Khalil is really talented. He can score. He's a tough kid, man. And he's a good kid. Like, they all good.
Let me tell you, I've seen this kid lose to Benjamin Banneker because Benjamin Banneker put the Jordan rules on him. You hear me? Salute to Coach Jackson.
Was it the playoff game at Boys and Girls?
Yes.
I was there.
I was in the house too.
I was there.
Were you sitting next to Tarkachowski in there?
No, I was across.
Or you was on the other side?
I was across the court on the other side, like in the corner over there. But it was on the other side. Yeah, but Tom was like behind Boys and Girls bench.
Right, so that's where I was at, right? With the head like the PSCL and my guy Arthur Lee Walker. So we're watching this kid get fouled, pushed to the ground, and I'm just watching his body language. Not one time he made a face. He didn't bang on the floor. He didn't talk to the referee like he should have got a call. All of those things are the quality that I look for great players.
Yep. And he has a lot of it, man. So, you know, again, I think, you know, again, just like for all of us, like, it's just going to be key where they decide to go. Regardless of what the level is, does it make sense for them? You know what I mean? So, you know, I know everybody strives to play at the highest level. But, you know, like I know, like, let's just, for the sake of the conversation, Texas and FDU, right, a little bit different levels. But I bet you everybody on our roster wasn't walking up at FDU and getting it done. Like, it's some goons everywhere, man. Like,
right, there you go.
That. Y'all was
that's right.
Players. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I hope dudes getting confused sometimes. Like, even there's D2 schools out here that dudes can't play at. Like, there's some players at all levels, man. So you got to respect it. You got to respect the process, and you got to be ready to put your work in regardless of where you decide to go to school.
Yeah, I think Khalil will be nice out there for sure. That's just me talking, not you. All right, so here we go. The best high school, college, and pro player you played against.
All right. High school, I mean, it's going to be a split. They got to tie. They got to go both ways. In high school, the best two players, one was the one I matched up with, and one was just a beast. Khalid Reeves, who, you know, was a year older than me, and he was a monster. Liv was a monster. And then Jamal Mashburn, because he was in our league, so we had to play him twice a year. Mash at his size and the skill set he had, it was crazy. So in high school, it was those two guys. In college, I'm going to have to say probably Jalen Rose, just because his size, man. I thought we actually played him in the second round of the NCAA tournament my junior, and I thought, you know what? You know, I'm going to just climb up and pressure him and not give him room to breathe. But the dude was so big, like nothing I did really bothered him. You know, he was able to just get on top and pass. Now, you know, it was a good game and we had a chance to win. And he didn't just murder it, don't get me wrong, but I'm just talking about a dude that knew how to play, and I couldn't manipulate him to do what I wanted him to do, and he had the size to go with it, so he was tough. And then in the NBA, man, I actually was on the court for a couple minutes with Mike, so that's easy. That's easy.
You get caught up going, damn, I got those sneakers.
No, but you know what? You got to, like, at that age, like, as a rookie, like, I really had to tell him, because I think they were killing us, and he only played, like, a minute or so, because it was wrap-up time. But I really had to tell myself to focus on playing basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Don't get caught looking at this dude. Don't just, you know what I mean? Like, I can't stare at him. I'm not here to watch him play. I'm playing against him, right? So I really had to have that conversation with myself, man, because obviously, you know, his presence was just crazy. To be on the same court was crazy. Like, United Center was crazy.
And check this out. Guys probably was doing that for you when they played against you.
Yeah, I'm sure. You know what I mean? To different levels. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's crazy to think that. It's crazy to think that.
Yeah.
Man. When you out there with the ultimate, it's a whole it's a whole different ball game, man. So, you know, those are the memories that I'm always have with me.
All right, last question, T. Can you give some advice to a kid who's looking to get him or himself out there, but they're not on a circuit or any AAU teams? What can they do?
Well, number one, you just got to, beyond all of it, you got to keep working, right? The number one thing is you got to be dedicated to getting better, the process of getting better. And you know what? The hard part for some kids is sometimes, you know, the stuff you've been working on for these last couple of weeks is not going to click maybe for a couple of months, right? So you got to stick with just work. You got to stick with the work. You got to stick with the work. Then the second thing is, which is not easy, but I don't think it's that difficult, you got to educate yourself, right? If you're not on the circuit, if you haven't hit the exposure you want to hit, like, you got to do the knowledge on how. All right, let me look at this dude that's from kind of my area. How did he click? You know what I mean? Like, you got to school yourself. You know what I mean? You got to step outside yourself. You got to think outside the box, and you got to relate to other people's experiences the best you can to help you put yourself in some situations. And then the last thing is, and a lot of times kids don't have full control over it, and we talked about it earlier, is the people you surround yourself with, right? You got to be around the right people, knowledgeable people who have your best interest at heart, not what they can get out of it eventually. And then, man, you can't be shy with your career, right? You can't be afraid to hear, nah, we good over here. You know what, yo, coach, can I play? Nah, we good over here. Well, I'm going to try to knock on the next door. Like, you can't have the ego to where you're scared to try to get what you want out of the deal, right? We get flooded every day with emails and videos and clips from kids. And to be honest, we don't always go through all of them. But if you don't go through those channels, then it's not even an opportunity. It's not a chance. Like, so you got to send your film. But you got to understand there's a way to send film. You can't just put a regular email and send it. Like, you got to find, who am I connected to that you might know that if he tell me, yo, this kid's going to send you a film, then I'm going to watch it, right? If Glenn hits me up and says, yo, I got a kid, I don't know how good he is, but can you just take 5 minutes to watch the film? I'm going to watch the film. But if I just get random emails all day, I don't have time to look through all of that. So you got to understand how to get to coaches, right, to get that exposure. So it's those things, man, just the know-how and surround yourself with the right people. But, again, at the end, you got to work, you got to improve, and you got to have your game on point to where, you know what, if somebody do call you from one of the videos, you got to be able to go show and prove now. You know what I'm saying? Like, the trick is up. So at the end of the day, it's all about the substance.
Yeah, just know if I'm hitting you up, the kid gonna be official. Because I already know how this works, man.
I need all that. If you think you
got
one
for sure,
trip, let me know. Yeah,
definitely. Well, I already got you down. Trust me.
But you know, I like ISO. Josh, my man. You know, there's a story behind that though. We talk on camera, man, because I was trying to get that done. I'm not sure what they looking for at this moment. You know what I mean? But hopefully they find it because he's talented and you know, he deserves a great opportunity. So that's my little guy, man. I'm pulling for him for sure. For sure. We can definitely talk because we will.
Yeah, it's my little guy, father, brother, uncle, everybody. So the moment has come. Can I show off, man? He really don't. See, my artist, Smoker, got an attitude. We're like the same sign, right? He don't want me bothering him when he doing his artwork. He don't be talking to him and asking questions.
Yeah.
I know how to get the attention, though. Trust me.
You don't want him talking to you when you trying to get your questions out.
Oh, no. You already know. Don't interrupt me, man. For sure. That's what we going to do.
You all ready?
Wow. Oh, shoot. Yo. That's crazy.
Oh, the whole picture.
Oh, yo.
Nice. He know that picture from.
Hell yeah. Wow. Yo, that's a gift, man. My man got
that's my guy right there.
Yo, thank you, man. That's real. That's real right there.
Yeah, brother. And look, he camera shot everything, right? Look, I love it, man, because everybody know they wrong, you know what I'm saying? Just want to say thanks to everyone for joining. My man T, man, he's a good one. Know he's gonna be a head coach one day, but while he's at Creighton, keep making Creighton great, man. Facts. And however I can help, you know I will. Salute. Peace, everybody. We out.